Hello, everybody. Michael Carter alongside of Garnet Barnsdale as we talk some Miami Fair racing. And Garnet, we had a big weekend a couple of weeks ago, and you actually gave out the winning Pick Four ticket.
I did, and I cashed on it. Didn't make a ton of money, but it was a nice profit, I thought. And last week nobody hit it, including me, obviously. So we get a little bit of a carryover in this week's pool, and I think it's interesting enough sequence this week.
Yeah, a small carryover this week. We'll get to that just before tonight's third race. Let's take a look at the live racing program, and we'll start with the first race, Garnet. And I'm going to start with the one, Get It Done, Bud. Driver Tyler Grundy picks up the drive. Interesting here that Corey Manning, the trainer, has a dual entry in here, and he chose to go with the 5 Woodstock Huey, who is actually my second selection. But I like Get It Done, Bud, from the inside. Takes a big step back in class. I was racing in the series here at Miami Fair, and didn't get over you see the HY there, the heavy going back on August the 15th, let's see, 7 days ago. Was beat 18 lengths handily, so I think Get It Done, Bud could get the job done at a little bit of a price. For second, I like Woodstock Huey. Like I said, interesting that Corey Manning, the trainer, chose number 5 Woodstock Huey over the rail horse. So I'll be interested to see what kind of tactics are there. And then the 2 Latte Sealster for third.
That's interesting because I don't have either of your top 2 picks in my top 3. I was watching these races last week. I don't think you were. Obviously, you were busy with family issues. But it was interesting to me that the heavy track was really heavy earlier in the card. And I really like Dust to Gold in this race, number 4. That 206 and 3 mile was actually a pretty big mile on that heavy track last week. Couldn't keep pace, tired quite a bit at the end. But if you throw that race out and look at his race 2 starts back, he was right there in a 202 and change mile, which is one of the fastest miles in this page. So I like him. I think he's going to be good price coming in off that race. My second pick's Latte Sealster. It goes to the front almost every week, always a threat. And the third one that I picked was number 3, Nelly's on the Money. Was third over the heavy track last week. Quite often, rarely wins, but quite often around the money. So I went 4-2-3, and you went 1-5. That's an interesting start.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go. So either one of us is going to be starting well, and the other one, who knows? We'll see what happens. Second race is a field of 5, and I'm going to go with the 5 Miso Classy Garnet for driver Dean Ray and trainer Lorraine Ray, coming off a nice victory over the heavy surface, as you said last time out. Came from off the pace, and those heavy surfaces tend to be a little bit more tiring. So obviously that allowed Miso Classy to close into the speed a little bit. For second, I like the 3 See You Tonight and My Chops Off the Rail. Corey Manning is showing up all over my tickets.
Yeah, I got the same top pick as you, Miso Classy. I like his last start. Dean Ray, as you can see, is 60% in the exactor, 30% first, 30% second. So, in a short field, he's going to be pretty tough in here. The second one I like is Blackjack is back. If you look at the very first number in his past performances, he draws terrible posts every week except this Saturday. So I think Blackjack is back. Finally gets an inside post. I think he's going to make use of it. And I like him to finish in the exactor. And the third one I picked was also the 1 Lammy Chop. So I think you also had for third in this race.
Yeah, Blackjack is back, or excuse me, Black is Back Jack was one of my selections a couple of weeks ago, finished 4th, and like you said, has been drawing on the outside, so I can definitely see another Corey Manning trainee, Garnet. So Corey Manning could very well, he's got a big chance of taking the early double. Third race is a condition event for Pacers for a purse of $1,900. It kicks off the Pick 4. Like we said, small carryover in the Pick 4. We'll talk about the Pick 4 sequence just before the third race. And Garnet, I'm going to go with the 5 Ride the Wind for Clayton Braybrook here. If you're looking at the Trackmaster programs like Garnet and I are, if you're stepping this, you see the class up in these 1-for-1. So kind of pitch that stat. Obviously batting 1,000 at 1-for-1, but has won 3 straight races here at the Miami Fair, and I'll tell you what, I think Ride the Wind could make it 4 in a row. For second, I went with the 3 Sunshine Act. Was a winner by 9 lengths from post 7 in her last start. So I think that 3-year-old filly has a decent chance. And then an interesting play off the rail, Garnet, the one Popcorn Jimmy. Trackmaster has this one stepping back in class, but obviously facing the same group. Maybe slightly easier, but gets a little bit of a better post draw.
Yeah, listen, I for the top two, I see it the exact same way as you. For me, this boils down to a 2-horse race between 5 Ride the Wind and Sunshine Act. I think they kind of stand out on form. So I have Ride the Wind for first, Sunshine Act for second. Same reasons as you mainly. And the third one I'm using is Little Tags. Little Tags, when you look at the Trackmaster program, you see a lot of boldface there at the end of it, and that shows that he's in the money a lot. So from the 6 hole, maybe he might spice up the trifecta payoff a little bit here.
All right, we'll go to the second leg of the pick 4. It is race number 4. It's a maiden event for Pacers, and my top selection here is the two shoes dropping back out of the series. Got the kind of the perfect trip, Garnet, in his last start, and just did not have anything left down the stretch. Obviously, a little bit of a tiring race course, as we've already talked about throughout some of the program. Pitched that race out, draws the inside, faces slightly easier. I think two shoes could bounce back here. For second, I used number 6. I'm hot off the press, was third, only beaten a length and a half last week. Came home in 34-3, and while that may seem slow to some of you, that's actually not too bad of a time for this race course. And then I like the 5 Zippity Zoom for third.
Wow, I think you missed an obvious one here. 4 Vern's Wish gets maybe the biggest driver change in the world here. Donald Howlett, first time, batting 54% at the meet. He's my top pick. I like Zippity Zoom. He was really good here last week on the heavy track. And the third one I'm using is your top pick, 2 Shoes. I think 2 Shoes projects to get a good trip near the front. But I look for a big wake-up effort here from Vern's Wish with Mr. Howlett getting in the bike.
Big trainer change here to Trevor Williams. We talked to Trevor off the air a little bit ago. He broke a track record a couple weeks ago that stood for 22 years. And an interesting stat here, when he drops a horse in class, he wins 46% of the time. Moving some, 46% of the time. That's what, about six of the 7 or 6 of the 13 starts. He's a winner. Yep. Not too bad.
Yep, very good, very good.
All right, on to race number 5. We'll go to 3, Somewhere Ideal. This time I did not miss Mr. Howlett. Comes off a third-place effort, but just missing by a length and a half against the Filly and Mare Open Company. And Garnet, I really like this open group because, I mean, these fillies and mares, they take shots at each other each and every week, and it really seems like they kind of mix it up enough to where just about anybody can win. So I'm going to try to sneak Mr. Howlett onto the ticket here in the 5th race with number 3, Somewhere Ideal. For second, we'll go with the 5, Tammy Blue, looking for a little bit of a price. I think you're going to get a short price on Somewhere Ideal, so I like Tammy Blue underneath. And then for third, I'm going to go with 4, Sprint to the Finish. We know a few people, Garnet, who try to win the sprint home.
Yes.
And Sprint to the Finish might be trying to, win the sprint home here.
Yeah, you know what? We got this race exactly the same. I think the big point here is Sprint to the Finish beat Somewhere Ideal last week, but she had post position advantage on her then, leaving from the rail, and now she doesn't. So I think, Don Howlett's probably going to send Somewhere Ideal right down the road here, or try to. I thought Tammy Blue raced really well last week. I think she's in with a shot to upset if there's any kind of, a little bit of battling early. And then Sprint to the Finish, I use third. I'm going to try and beat her out of this pick 4 most likely, because I think she's going to take money because she won last week, and I don't think she holds any particular advantage this time around.
All right, 6th race is a Horses and Geldings Open, purse $2,450, and another very nice group of open horses. And one thing about the Miami Fair, Garnet, that a lot of people aren't going to see, you're not going to see the same horse winning week in and week out. This is a very hard-knocking group of 5 or 6. Your man Marv the Rat is back in this race, but I'm going to go with number 2, Saskabush Steve. Don Howlett's on top of my ticket again, was second in a dead heat, came home in 29-3 in the last start back on August the 15th, just last week. This is a gelding who has a good amount of speed. The only problem I have with this gelding is he's got a little bit of a braking issue, and that is a slight concern of mine. If he behaves himself, he should defeat this class pretty handily. For second, I like the 4 Gray Z, was a winner by 6 lengths against Condition Company and Garnet. I'm interested to see what Trevor Williams will do with this this 7-year-old gelding. Interesting, a gray horse shows up in the Open. Not too often you see the grays kind of compete at the top company. And then for third, I'll go with the 3 Charles Dragon.
Yeah, I'm against you. I'm against you in this race. For my money, Gray Z was the most impressive winner in the card last week. Made a power move first up, come home in 28-3 over that good track. That's phenomenal. That's probably like about 25-4 at Mohawk. So I'm looking for Gray Z to repeat. You're going to find out, how much I like him when we get to our pick 4 tickets. I think it's probably a race between him and Saskabush Steve, who I have second, and I'm amazed that I got that name right. And finally, my favorite name at the entire place, Appoggiatura, is my third pick.
I'm sure glad you knew how to say that name, because I looked at it and went, what the heck is this? It was almost like Unfodans. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, race number 7 is a filly and mare maiden event. And Garnet, this is a nice group of horses, but I'm going to go with the first-time starter, number 3, Electric Amadeus, for trader driver Corey Manning. That qualifier, in 2:10-1 could very well beat this field. I'm interested to see what the mare does. Is a 4-year-old mare by Rockin' Amadeus, and we all remember what Rockin' Amadeus did, some nice things on the racetrack. So I think that the 3 Electric Amadeus will score the victory here. For second, I'll go with the 4 Runaway Heiress. You see a bunch of 2s and 3s down the line there. This is a horse that likes to hit the board. Doesn't have a whole lot of winning efforts. Is actually 0 for 7 in her young career. And then for third, I'll go with the 1 Bailer Out Babe, who actually steps back in class after facing some tough company in the series.
Wow, I didn't think we'd land on the same 3 in the exact order again here, but I looked at it the exact same way. I think this is a good spot for a horse, first-time starter, for a horse to make its debut. Runaway Heiress I'm sure is a nice horse to own, but hasn't been able to get the job done yet. She's finished third several times in a row. It's a short field, and I have to think that this horse is probably going to carve a few seconds off that 2:10 at least. So, I also went 3-4-1, pretty much for the same reasons you did, Mike.
Interesting stat here, Garnet. If you look to the right, if you're looking at the Trackmaster program, it says Sire first. Rockin' Amadeus, first time out, 13% winner. That's a nice stat, but check out the ROI. 115%. So you might get a little bit of a price here on Electric Amadeus, and Rockin' Amadeus has proven that he could provide a little bit of value to your tickets.
Yeah, he's obviously, some of these horses have paid well, because it's he's only winning with 1 in about 7, I guess.
Yeah. All right. 8th race tonight is a condition event for a pace for $2,000. I'm going to go with a 5 Hokey Dokey, not just because I'm a Virginia Tech fan, Garnet, but Hokey Dokey is also one of my favorite dances, as Garnet found out at my wedding about a year ago, the Hokey Pokey. But was second, only beaten a length, had to really make up a lot of ground last week. Garnet got shuffled back. And just coming down the stretch, really fired home strongly. So I think Hokey Dokey, again, slightly easier, will be the top pick here for me. 3, The Little Beast, won 3 straight before finishing second, beaten handily 2 starts in a row, and then came right back in the series and won by 6 lengths over that heavy track. So that was a really impressive performance. And then I'm going to go with the 1 Waitin' for Love for trainer Ronald Ray.
Yeah, I got 5 Hokey Dokey on top as well. I thought he raced really well last week. Third time Don Howlett in the bike here. Probably going to show a little bit more speed this time. Probably going to come down to him and the Little Beast, who I also have for second for most of the same reasons you have. The Little Beast obviously has compiled a great record so far, and is probably going to be the one that Hokey Dokey is going to have to pass to get the job done. And finally, I used number 2, Senga Savannah, finished second in a dead heat last week. Usually up near the pace, can take some air. You can see all those parked out symbols there. Takes air and passes horses. So I got 5-3-2 in this race.
All right, ninth and final is a claiming event for Pacers, $1,850 up for grabs, and I'm going to go with another 5-hole Garnet. I'm going to go with the 5. Outlaw Kismet for trainer Trevor Williams was a winner against Condition Company last week over the good track. That 203-1 performance, Garnet, is actually not a bad effort. Obviously got along well with Jacques Lambert. If you look down the page here, the only time recently that Outlaw Kismet missed the board was 2 starts back against tougher company in the Open, but obviously got the driver change to Christopher Brown. I'm going to go with the 1 great quote for second. Finished 4th, beaten 6.5 lengths. You know what? This is a gelding that likes to hit the board. Horses aren't machines. They're going to bounce every once in a while. I think that's what happened last week. So we'll give 1 great quote another chance off the rail. And for third, we'll go with the 3 Dolly Double. And hopefully, Garnet, some of us will be hitting the daily double with some of these horses.
Yes, I also went to the 5 Outlaw Kismet. I thought he was pretty impressive last week. To me, he kind of stands out here. I don't think you're going to get much of a price, even though he draws the outside post. Number 1, great quote, also my second choice. Maybe he just didn't like the good track last week, but you see he's right there every week otherwise. And the third one I went for number 2, Bling Kaching. Made up some good ground in his last start. I think Bling Kaching will probably sit a pretty good trip here from the 2-hole and can round out this triactor, the last one of the day.
All right. First race post time is in just a little bit at 1:30. Good luck at all of your wagering strategies, and we'll see you back here before the third race for the Pick 4.